Okay, 1, 2, 3. The drought was the very worst. When the flowers that we grown together died of thirst. It was months and months of back and forth. You're still all over me like a wine-stained dress I can't wear anymore. On my head as I lost the war. La 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 la. Rain came pouring down when I was drowning. That's when I could finally breathe. And by morning, gone was any trace of you. I think I am finally clean. Okay, I think I forgot the line. Okay, that's gonna be it. So, hey guys, I'm Jocelyn here again. You probably realized that I did a little bit of singing at the beginning of the video. That was because I thought I always pulled this deadpan face, in the video I did in the past, and I sort of wanted to break through with that kind of impression. That's why I, did a little singing today just to lighten up the mood. Anywho, what I'm going to talk about today is about flight, especially international flight. Why do I want to talk about it? So it had something to do with my recent experience with international flights. So you see, my friend is going to come to China to visit me during the summer, from the States, of course. Well, I've taken a few international flights back and forth between China and America, but he has never done so before. So he was a little bit daunted by this whole thing, and I helped along. So the thing you need to know is that we have a budget and we don't want to overrun it. The budget is somewhere around $1,000. Well, if you've had an experience of flying between these two countries, you probably will know that $1,000 is already quite a deal, especially the two ends of this round trip that we're talking about is North China and the East Coast of America. Yeah, round trip. That's also the keyword that we have here. If you want to buy just a one-way ticket and $1,000,
well, that's not gonna cut it. I'm never gonna throw $1,000 into just a one-way ticket. Yeah, what we're talking about here is a round-way trip.
I already know that when it comes to getting cheap flights, it all boils down to the timing. So I did some digging regarding how far ahead should we place the order and just book the flights, and my not so thorough research came up with this answer: 2 or 3 months in advance. Now, my friend and I are expecting to meet each other during his winter break. So we had a bit of a wiggle room on the dates of the flights, and we also found ways to skirt around the most crowded days for international traveling, the Christmas Day and the New Year's Eve. Because, flights in proximity to or on exactly these 2 days probably are going to be astronomical. So I think it's a really smart move for us to shun the traffic. Apart from the flexibility in our dates of flights, another advantage that we have here at hand is that we are now exactly 3 months ahead of the winter break. So if we don't act right now, then probably the window of opportunity will be lost forever. So we went on a bunch of flight selling websites like Expedia and Orbitz, and then here comes the most troublesome, stressful, devilish, and tedious experience of all. The most tedious part of it is to compare and contrast different flight rates and then to decide on which flight to actually buy. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. So, why is it such a devilish experience to have? Well, not only do flight prices change by day and even by hour, the flight tickets for traveling during the winter break can also be quite easily snapped up. So one day we probably would see a really good deal, and then we probably hesitate a little bit, and then another day it would be impossible for us to find it anymore. And then we were like, what we were thinking at that time when we hold off on that. I mean, were we waiting till something better to pop up? What if that would never happen again? And then every time we saw some really reasonably priced ticket on display, then we were caught up in the horns of dilemma. We were like, should we pounce on it or should we wait for an even more succulent prey? So one bummer with those websites is that it's really arduous for us to even use them for the task of comparing and contrasting. I'm not saying that those websites suck. I mean, they are excellent websites for you to look for cheap flights and make your purchase and stuff like that. I'm only saying that, based on my personal experience, it seems like those websites, the design of those websites are not specifically and perfectly matching what we expected to do with our traveling plan. This video could be, entirely subjective, maybe a little biased, I don't know, but just so you can just take it purely as a personal anecdote, and probably you can, take reference from it when you are thinking about international traveling or stuff like that. So, anywho, where was I? Oh, yeah, the bummer. So, first of all, you put in 2 days on the home web page of either one of the websites that I was talking about, and then, the 2 days, one for your outbound trip and the other for your return trip. And then the website program will usher in a second web page where all the flights that fit your description will be shown in the order of cost, which means that if you scroll down and the prices get higher and higher, so we'll usually stick to the first 2 or 3 options, which means the cheapest flights of all. So not so bad so far, right? However, it would be really problematic if even the first 2 options, the cheapest flights, exceed our budget. Then we would need to go back to the home page and then try out some other combinations of dates, just to tweak the dates a little bit and see how it would play out. So when we felt like we had done our fair share of researching, we decided to go to our next chapter. And then we emerged decisive on this one combination of dates that we thought would render us the best, or at least the better result. So we decided on this round trip flight that was purportedly costing us $780, and we were tickled pink. So we clicked on that exact flight. And we thought we were gonna, go through with the whole purchasing and all that jazz. But then, rather than that, we were actually transferred to a third web page where all the information of the return flights were shown. And as it turned out, our hearts were actually given a second bumpy ride, because in order to get a return ticket that wouldn't, take off at the weird time or land in the middle of the night, we would actually have to add $400. So they actually added up to $1,200. We actually assumed that the second return flight wouldn't add any extra burden on our pockets, and we were wrong. We were too naive. So $1,200, that's not what we wanted at all in the first place. Frustrated, we decided to call it a day. Well, actually, I decided to call it a day because I had to sleep on it, and he could just go about doing his own stuff, like attending lectures or doing assignments or stuff like that. Because there is this 12-hour time difference, between China and U.S. So we waited for 12 hours, and then 12 hours later, we decided to turn on those websites again, and then that's when we finally found and purchased the flights that we have right now, which is an $800 round trip flight. So that is our horrible but still fruitful experience with flight purchasing. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.